Hi everyone, today we're going to be looking at the process to make this mixed media art here that you're seeing. Sorry, my cat is currently crawling all over. What else is new? Oh, Simon. So this is from the Dollar Tree, this mask, and it was out around Mardi Gras time, I believe. They do sell them throughout the year, you just have to try and find them. Oh my god, he's gonna try and climb on my laptop again, guys. And I took the string off the back of it. You can take the glitter top off the front, but I kept it because I liked that texture that it gave it. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with this project, and I just kind of got my blank canvas and figured I would start. So I kept some of the process in here. I usually cut it out, but I wanted you to see that it's not just so cut and dry. So at this point, I didn't really like the way the mask was sticking so far off of the canvas board, and I tried to cut it, and I broke it. And then I was like, oh no, I broke it. Now what am I gonna do? It's broken. And then I was like, well, you know what? I really like it like this. I think I'm just gonna leave it go. I'm just gonna use it anyway because I like the kind of half face mask look. So I just decided to use it anyway, even though I broke it when I tried to cut it. I'm really good at this stuff. So my neighbor gave me a bunch of this beautiful lace. She used to work as a seamstress and she has no use for it anymore. Oh my gosh, Simon, will you stop? And so she gave it to me, and it's been sitting around for a while, and I'm just waiting for that perfect project to come along. So I pulled it out, and I just kind of started placing it on top of the mask to see if I liked the way it looked, and to see if I wanted to use it. And this is just kind of part of my process. I basically just mess around with it until I figure out what it's going to look like, and if I'm going to like it or if I want to switch it out. So like I said, I did keep a lot of that process in this video because I usually cut those parts out in editing, but I wanted to show you that it's just not so cut and dry as just knowing what you're doing. With this canvas, I just started with the blank canvas and didn't even really know what color I wanted to make it. Obviously black, but like what other color I wanted to make it. So I got it out, and my initial thought was I was going to make it more purples, but I was more drawn towards the blue, so I did end up making it more blue. So from there, I had to figure out what my focal point was going to be. So I took a look at all my supplies and just kind of went through to see what I had, and that's when I found this mask, and I thought I really wanted to use it. So I pulled it out and started from there, as this being my large focal point here. So I'm using my E6000 glue, and I'm just kind of gluing those embroidery pieces down onto the mask in strategic places that I think maybe would look cool. This actually took me a couple days because I really didn't know what I wanted it to look like, and I didn't really have a vision from the start. So I just kind of had to think about the whole process, and just kind of what felt right. The next step is I got my texture paste and my stencil, and I just took my finger and I put some texture paste on the canvas here, and you can see I'm wearing a glove because my hands are getting so dry from constantly washing them from painting and like dealing with my cats and just going outside. Like every time I go outside and come back inside, I always wash my hands. So my hands got super dry, so I figured I should probably wear gloves more often. These are really big for my little hands, and it doesn't really work out sometimes. So these are some mosaic pieces that I thought maybe I was going to use, so I put them to the side, and I wanted to show you that part because I didn't end up using them, but at one point I thought I was going to use them. And that's, again, it's just part of the process of making art. You just don't know, at least this type of art, I didn't really have an exact idea of what I wanted. So here's some of the texture on the canvas after it was dry. You can kind of see it there. It's a little hard, but you can kind of see it. So now I'm going to paint over my canvas with black. And that was definitely, I wanted to show you guys, that was definitely not the right paintbrush for painting such a large area. but all my other paintbrushes were still being cleaned. So I had to use what I had. Normally I would use a larger flat brush to kind of paint over a larger piece like this, but like I said, they were still being cleaned and waiting for them to dry. So I just used what was already dry, and it took a lot longer than it normally would because it was such a small brush. And then I used that same brush and the same process to paint over this mask and over all of the lace embroidery. And I did have a second where I thought maybe I should have removed the glitter, but I kind of liked the texture that it gave it. And then I had a short where this is kind of summed up, but I decided that I wanted to go with blue. But sometimes these iridescent paints can be very deceiving. So you can see on the white part of this piece of paper here, this is just a scrap piece of paper, it does turn out the color that's shown on the bottle, but when you put it over the black, it actually turns out blue. And this is a common occurrence with paints. If you're trying to paint something and it's not turning out the color that you want, it could be the base coat of the paint is not the right hue. I know it's a little hard to explain, but this kind of gives you the visual of like if your base coat is a darker color, it could potentially change the way your paint looks altogether. And it's really, really obvious with these iridescent paints. So these are 3 different colors, and they do not turn out the colors that they say they are on the bottles. So I always try and have a little, so like this one's sea green here. I always try and have a little experiment on the side to see what color it actually is going to turn out on top of the color that I'm putting it on. Just so I can see, is this going to be the color I want, or do I need to pick a different color? So you can see on the white there, it is sea green, but then when it's on the black, it's definitely more blue. So that's interesting to see that it's so different. But you want to keep that in mind if you are going to use these iridescent paints. It may not be the same color as the bottle. So I did end up using the sea green one, I believe it was, because it made this really pretty blue. I could have used the first one as well, but I decided to go with the sea green because I wanted that green, if there was any excess, I wanted it to show through in that teal green color. So that's why I went with the teal color, the teal green. So we're just going to paint over this black on the mask with the teal and that iridescent color. And it does look really teal at first, but then once it dries, you'll see it actually does turn more of the blue, the really pretty blue color. My cat finally left. I think he found food. Nope, no food. Oh my goodness. And then I did the same process to the canvas, but I didn't want to cover the whole canvas, so I just kind of did like a swiping motion up and down. These are dried pressed flowers, and I have a bunch of different satchels of these in different colors, and I really like them. They're super pretty, and I kind of thought that maybe I wanted to put some of these on my mixed media here. I started pulling out some ones that I really liked, but I didn't really have an idea of how I wanted to lay them or how I wanted them to look in the end. But I do have a bunch of different ones, and I just started pulling through different combinations to see which ones I liked the best. And I did pull out ones that I didn't end up using. Oh my god, now my cat is meowing at me. Oh god. This is why he's in the thumbnail of all my videos, because he's always disturbing me doing something. So these are really pretty. The only caveat with them is because they're real flowers, I worry about them being crushed if I put it in a canvas or in a frame. So I'm going to have to try and find a shadow box frame for this one. So it's not going to be listed for sale until I can find a frame that I can put this in. I really want to find a shadow box frame because I think that's going to be the best option for these flowers. And I will put a top coat on them to try and preserve them, but I think the shadow box is going to be the best idea. So there's my mess right there. And then there was these leaves that I really liked and I wanted to use, but they just didn't look right with the flowers because they were fake. They're like fabric and the flowers are real. So it just kind of just didn't look right. I had to move my camera there. That's why he saw that zoom out. I really ended up liking the orangey, reddish brown flowers in contrast to the blue teal. I think it made a really pretty look. So I really wanted to pull more of that color. Oh my gosh, why is it doing that? I think because I had to keep readjusting my camera. So I knew I wanted that. So then I went back to the little mosaic pieces and I picked out some like orangey burnt brown pieces. And I didn't like it. I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know. It just didn't seem right. It just felt unattached or something. I can't explain it. It's just a feeling in my gut that I just didn't like the way this was looking. So I stepped away from it for a bit and I just let it to the side and thought about it overnight again. And I'm sorry, I'm so tired. And I decided not to use them because they just weren't giving that effect that I wanted. And now my cat's meowing again. And then I found these little bits of plastic that I remember I used in a different mixed media a couple of years ago. I spray painted them to look like mirror pieces, so it looked like a broken mirror. And I thought maybe I could paint these like that bronzy color, but I ended up not liking that either. And I painted them black and thought maybe the next step would be painting them bronze. Thought about it again and I really just didn't like it. I just didn't like the way it was looking. I also added some more black to the mask to try and tone down some of that really bright blue color here. So that's what I'm doing here. And you can see the pieces are kind of painted black there now. So I just decided, nope, I'm not doing any of that. And I just cleared the whole board off and let's just try again. So no mosaic pieces. At this point, I thought about it again for another day. And I thought, I really want to pull some of those colors from those flowers in. So I went and I got a stencil and I thought this would work. Silly me. So I got a stencil and I got some paints and I was mixing the paints to try and pull some of that burnt-y orange, kind of purpley color. And you can see here I'm trying to mix pink and blue, but I added way too much blue. So it ended up being more purple and not like less orange than what I wanted. So that was a fail. So that was not really turning out the same color as that flower that I just showed there. The second one, it was closer and it was as close as I could get. And I ended up adding more red and a lot less blue. And it seemed to get pretty close to the color that I wanted. So I was happy with that. My friend told me that if I use little tiny sponges, I can sponge paint through a stencil really easily and it shouldn't bleed. Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. Just wait a second here. So I did the middles as this like burnt maroon kind of purpley hues to it. And then the outside I did in like the bronze. So we'll just go on the inside of the stencil here with the maroon color and then the outside in like the bronze. And I was trying to hold it in place so that it wouldn't move. And look at that mess. That is a lot of bleeding. That's a lot of bleeding. So she lied to me, or maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. I shouldn't really call her a liar since I could be doing it wrong. Yeah, it wasn't what I was trying to do. It wasn't the look I was going for. So I just continued with the four corners here. And then I thought, well, what if I get one of my acrylic paint markers and just try and make the stencil show through more? So I got my acrylic paint marker and I tried, but the stencil is so tiny and thin that it's just covering what I just painted. So I just decided, the heck with it. I'm going to leave it go and it'll just look like an abstract splatter. And if anyone asks, it was meant to look like that. It was never meant to look like anything else. It's just abstract. That's what we're going with. Don't ever tell anyone otherwise. I thought I could freehand. Oh my god, my cats are knocking things over. I thought I could freehand some of it, but then I just didn't like that either. So I just stopped and then decided I was just going to cover it with the mask anyway, so none of this really matters. So we'll just keep this weird abstract design here that looks like a weird sun. And we're just going to attach our mask on top of it, and you're not even going to see most of it anyway. So again, using my E6000 glue, just attaching all the pieces that I really ended up keeping and liking. And oh god, I feel like my cat is like stalking me behind me. I think he is. He is. And started adding all these bits and pieces. Oh god, he's here, guys. He's gonna attack again. Simon, what are you doing, buddy? Please don't step on mommy's keyboard. And here is the finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you next time. Oh my gosh, Simon's almost fell over. I'll see you next time. Stay spooky, my friends.